Hey guys, welcome back to Margot Watches Movies. It's Mother's Day. If there's any mothers watching this video, I hope y'all had a wonderful day with your beloved children. My mom, if you're watching this, I love you, and it was great getting to see you today. Today I'm going to be reviewing Season 2, Episode 5 of The Last of Us. This was an episode compared to last week. By default, it was an improvement. Last week was a pretty bad television episode, besides two sequences. There were no over-the-top, preposterously awful lines of dialogue like "I'm gonna be a dad," or that atrocious sex scene that had no business happening in the sequence it did. Nothing that severe happens. So with that, we'll kind of move into a little recap review here. So that cold open kicks off from the woman from the cold open last week, who is like linked with Isaac, the leader of the wolf. I guess she's kind of like a co-leader, or maybe his right-hand man. And this cold open basically serves as a setup to introduce you, the audience, if you haven't played the games, that I guess if the virus is left unattended long enough, it can go airborne. And it's a big reveal as far as the show goes, because the show itself hasn't really delved into that. And as a matter of fact, it was something that wasn't even supposed to really exist in the show. They do the cordyceps, where like if you step on it, it triggers the infected miles away, and they move like a horde. So you get that, and I was kind of wondering why they were setting that up, and that's obviously paid off in the climax with Ellie and Nora from the Jackson 5, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But once that cold open finishes, we cut back to Ellie and Dina at the theater post-coitus, and they're laughing, they're joking, and that's really started to grow old for me. It's really like, what is going on? You know, one thing that this show has done is it has definitely made me appreciate elements of The Last of Us Part 2 much more, because in that game, once Ellie and Dina commit to taking this hundreds of miles long journey to Seattle with just the two of them in Shimmer, there is a determination, and Ellie especially, but Dina is there to support. There is a grit. Ellie is not here for jokes. She ain't here to play around. She's in Seattle to take heads, to find, through blood, through violence, through torture, where are Joel's killers? I am here to kill them. That is her mission, and the game sells the gravity of that mission. And it's a big theme of the game, and it should be a big theme of the show, which just realized it this episode, it seems, because they do some course correction there. And I don't think it works fully, not nearly enough to what it should, because these seeds needed to be planted 2 episodes ago. But for the last 2 episodes, you've had this kind of like a cross-country trek, romance angle. They've been goofy, they've been hee, and it's just not selling into what the vibe of this show is. These are 2 ladies that are in a foreign city, surrounded on 3 fronts by enemies in far greater numbers, with far greater resources, with more equipment, with more artillery. You have the infected, you have the Scars/Seraphites, and you have the wolves. And they have been treating this like a joke. It's like, I don't even think it's felt like Ellie has known why she's there, which is to avenge Joel. Joel has been killed. And so the episode starts off with that vibe, and then while Dina's trying to triangulate some location for them to find, which isn't really explained why they want to cut across to go somewhere, Ellie walks into this theater and she finds a guitar, a bunch of guitars. She picks one, and this is a key moment from the game where you get to play as Ellie, and she sings this Pearl Jam song. And the lyrics, at least the opening lyrics, are, "If I ever were to lose you, I'd surely lose myself." And that's a very impactful lyric, and it means a lot towards the game, because that's the whole theme of the game. She loses Joel, And in her pursuit of bloodlust, in her pursuit of revenge, she starts to lose herself. And so far, there has not even been a single iota of that. And in the show, she starts, if I ever were to lose you. And as soon as she says that, it's like a light bulb clicks in her head. It's like, oh, that's right. I'm in Seattle because Joel got murdered brutally right in front of my eyes. Viciously, savagely murdered in front of me. That's why I'm here. And now she's serious. She comes out to Dina all serious. No more jokes now. We need to go while there's still daylight. So they start trekking out in the street. They see these dead Seraphites just loudly talking in the open, not cutting through buildings. I don't know. That's one of the issues of adapting a game, right? You get some backstory into Dina, why her parents died. Now it's all serious. Now it's no longer, a CW romance plot. It's serious now, and we get some good backstory to Dina. I don't think that was in the game, and it fleshed out her character a lot. And they're super serious now. But one of the issues with trying to course correct right now in this episode is Ellie, who hasn't given a shit and has been way more interested in Dina and their blooming love than the revenge aspect of avenging Joel, is Dina goes, because she's pregnant, hey, if I stay and I die, it's on me, it's not on you. We can turn around or we can keep going. And Ellie, up to this point, in my opinion, the way that they've been drawing these episodes out, it would have made sense in character with good writing to say, let's turn the hell around. You're pregnant. I'm in love with you. You're in love with me. Let's turn around and go home. But they don't, because the plot requires them to move forward. And this is a detriment. It has to happen, but it negatively reflects the writer's abilities in these last two episodes. They did not set that sequence up well. There's no signs of Ellie pushing this love for Dina out of the scope and her narrow-minded, tunnel vision quest for blood to avenge Joel. So that was an issue I had with the episode right there. They end up at this warehouse. They run into stalkers, and it was a pretty tense scene. I wasn't quite sure how they were about to get out of it. And thank the heavens, gleaming light starts shining, and it is Jesse. He has made the trek, been playing behind them about a day. He saves their ass. Finally, we have an adult in the frame, right? The adults are here. He mentions that Tommy came with him. They split up to cover ground. We'll see Tommy probably later in the season on some other plot aspects, which I'm sure the general audiences are going to love when we spend whole episodes away from this group we're watching tonight. So they run out. They go to this park being chased by the wolves, and the wolves don't follow them. Oh, we don't go into this park. Oh, I wonder why. If you play the games, you know what's about to happen. As the audience, you might be wondering, but then you hear the whistles. It's Seraphite territory. They watch some dude get his entrails cut as he's hung. It's a brutal death scene. I guess they need some gore. And then Dina gets shot with an arrow from scars somewhere else. And this is another writing issue, contrivance I had. Ellie says, hey, y'all run this way. I'll lead them that way, away from you. Presumably Jesse and Dina get back to the theater safe. Ellie, after escaping, happens to just see a door through the trees. And this door just so happens to be the hospital from the cold open where they've established the spores. She goes to the door, she gets into the hospital, and she's hiding in a supply closet, and we cut to Nora, the bald girl who is one of the 5 members of Abby's gang, the Jackson 5, who killed Joel. And she happens to just walk in, and one of the biggest plot contrivances I've seen in a while, and there it is. Ellie gets to confront Nora out of sheer, unadulterated coincidence and luck. In the game, you actually have some detective work. You torture some people to get info. You know Nora is going to be at the hospital. In the show, just through sheer luck, 1 in a million chance, of all the floors in the hospital, of all the people to run into, of all the supply closets to hide in, Nora walks in. So I had an issue with that. That was not well done remotely at all. After that, though, is easily the best part of the episode. Picks up quite a bit. We almost get a 1-for-1 remake of that sequence in the game. A couple differences. Nora, running from Ellie, tries to cut across an elevator shaft. After opening it, the elevator itself falls with Nora on it. Ellie's being chased by wolf soldiers. Nora falls to B2, which is mentioned in the cold open when the lieutenant was forced to leave her son there, who, because of the spores in the air. And we get our first visual representation of the airborne virus. And this was a pretty awesome set. The CGI of the spores coming out of the mouth looked pretty decent. The set design was awesome. It was well lit. It was well staged. And then you get the climactic sequence, which is honestly pretty iconic from the game, in my opinion. Ellie tracking down Nora, infected. Nora realizing Ellie is the immune girl. And then this is another instance where not laying those seeds in earlier episodes, you get this jarring tonal whiplash of Ellie going and picking up a lead pipe and beating the ever-living crap out of Nora, torturing her. And you see 3 brutal blows before it cuts away. And we're left with Joel walking in. Hey girl, how's it going? I'm Joel. And I'm gonna give you a spoiler warning here if you've not watched or if you've not played the games. You got 3 seconds. If you don't want to know anything about next week, tune out now. Okay. No, it's not all a dream. She didn't wake up and Joel's gonna be all right. Joel's definitely dead as crap. He is so dead. It's more than likely gonna be a flashback. We might get a flashback episode next week, which will actually be nice. That was one of the best parts of the game, and I think that could be a good episode, and it'll be refreshing to see Pedro Pascal's Joel back on the screen for an extended period of time, not just sitting in a therapy room complaining about his feelings. It'll be much better. So overall, yes, this episode was an improvement, but there's some big issues with the writing. They did not set up the impact they needed. Ellie being this cute little jokester, ooh, we hooked up, and all of a sudden by the end of the episode, she's torturing a dying woman with a lead pipe. That was not set up well. It happened in the game, so it had to happen in the show, and a lot of these actions felt like they simply happened because that's what's needed to drive the story forward. It didn't seem like a natural development of the character. And those seeds needed to be laid in the last 2 episodes. They weren't, so now we're paying the price. This was a decent episode. It could have been much better. I'd give it a 6 out of 10, better than the 4 out of 10 from last week's episode. But the sequence with Nora, in terms of how it looked, production values, the lighting, the set design was really good. So from a technical aspect, I'll give that part, it was definitely better than last week, besides the 2 sequences. But you got a decent amount of action in here. If you're just a casual viewer, I think you probably enjoyed this episode a lot more than last week or in the week before, which was really slow. So there's a lot more to come. It looks like part 2 of the game will be done over the next 2 seasons. That seems obvious to me now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think I'm being too harsh here? Am I being not harsh enough? I'm curious to know what you guys thought about this week. Did you think it was improvement over last week? Do you agree maybe with some of these plot contrivances? I mentioned the lack of development in terms of Ellie's descent into darkness has not been done well. Do you think I'm tripping on that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Give me a like, give me a subscribe if you like the review. And if you're a mother watching this, I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day weekend. But that's all for tonight. This is Margo Watches Movies. My name's Jake Margo, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. See you next time.